And then we kind of have to update the ladies with they had a big weekend and a couple sports. Boom.
This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, morning, Tuscaloosa. Internet world, West Alabama, how we doing today on this Tuesday, April 15? It is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. You're hanging out with us on the Bama Central YouTube channel. You're hanging out with us on the Bama Central Facebook page, on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither6 on Twitter and on YouTube as well. We love to see you connect with the show on your favorite social media machine. You can leave us a comment, question, query, or complaint. We appreciate that. Love to connect with you that way. You can leave us a phone call, a voicemail on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. If you hear anything on this show you want to chime in on, or anything that you agree with or especially disagree with, we'd love to take your voicemails today at 205-462-7340, extension 800. We do have a voicemail in the tank to play and to get into. I actually haven't even really looked at it, so I don't know what Dax called about. So that'll be a surprise to all of us. We're gonna have a lot of fun on Tuesday. It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. We're live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, hanging out with Mason Woods. You call Derek for all of your insurance needs. Home, life, auto insurance needs, boaters insurance, renters insurance. You might want to get your boaters insurance checked up. It's about to be summertime. You'll be spending some time on the water. Derek Daniel can take care of your boaters insurance as well. Call them at 205-758-3391. They'll be happy to take care of you. They'd love to run you a quick auto insurance quote and make sure that you are happy with your coverage. Call them 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. And with that, let's get into the program. We're back on track a little bit on a Tuesday. We kicked Theo out of the studio and replaced him with Mason Woods. You follow Mason Woods at MA_Woods_. Mason, how we doing? How was the weekend and the Monday?
Yeah, everything was good this weekend. Got to be in Bryant-Denny Stadium first time in a little bit, so that was nice. It was a bit of an interesting atmosphere in there, but we'll get into that a bit. Good weekend though. Good Monday. Pretty slow on the not slow on the recruiting trail. I mean, a lot of things are happening. Things are picking up for Alabama. I think with some of these prospects trying to get some information out of some of them is going a little slow. We'll say.
No hard news over the weekend for the recruiting, but a lot of almost news. A lot of this guy seems like he's getting close. This guy is making Alabama the favorite. It seems like, we'll just start with recruiting, even though I told you we would start with quarterbacks. I don't need to go too deep into it, but it just seems like Courtney Morgan put in the work over the weekend.
Yeah, it certainly seems like they had a good weekend. If you were on Twitter like you or like Joe or I'm sure you saw the rumor or the prediction from, I think, On3 that both Sedarian Morgan and Xavier Crowell will are predicted to commit to Alabama. I know I think Crowell as a scheduled commitment date for like December 31st this year. So we'll see if that holds. And then I think Sedarian Morgan has one for like July 1st. So again, not sure if either of those are going to be holding or not. It seems like maybe the two of them are a little closer to a commitment than they originally thought.
So there we go. Crowell and Sedarian Morgan are two tip-top names in this class.
Yeah, did get to talk to one of the top names from the 27 class. He, of the few players I reached out to this weekend, the ones I was able to, we were able to get in touch with just a little bit on A-Day. He was the one that got back to me, Jake Hildebrand, the number one overall offensive tackle in the 2027 class. Had a lot of good things to say about being in Tuscaloosa. Said, this was his first time here and it already felt like home. He didn't want to leave when he was getting on the plane to head out. So,
his parents were cool.
Yeah, his parents seemed like nice folks. We got to, shake their hands and introduce ourselves. Maybe we'll be able to get him on the show soon. Seems like hopefully he will be open to that. So we'll try to make that happen.
All right. Well, I'll close this loop by just saying, I know I said it yesterday. You may or may not have heard it because I don't know if I wouldn't have listened. I don't know if I would have listened to it if I wasn't on the show that day, like if I'm working at Home Depot. So yesterday, I closed the show by saying how proud I was of you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Really, just walking right up to these young men and these families, and just saying, "Hey, I'm Mason Woods. Worked for Bama Central, and we'd love to talk to you about recruiting." And you know, the only thing I could compare it to is being out on the town and getting a bunch of girls' phone numbers. That wasn't what it was like, but like it was kind of like that a
It's
little
always an
bit,
awkward interaction.
a
You
little
know,
bit. But
it's
you got a bunch of phone numbers.
yeah, we got to talk to I think by the end of the day 5 or 6 different recruits from the most of them from the 26 class, 1 or 2 I think from the 27 class. So hopefully we will have some stories coming down the pipeline here from some of those players getting their reactions from being here at A Day, and maybe some of them will be committing sooner than later.
We'll find out. We'll have fun. All right. We spent yesterday mostly talking about the all field implications of 8A. We talked about how the poor crowd, and we talked about wasted money on the university's sake, and we talked about, oh, is the fan base not excited about Alabama? Oh, I don't think it's just the Alabama fan base. It's the college football fans. You look across all of college football, the attendance was very bad at spring games. We spent a lot of time on that. We talked about Yale, Alabama trying to create new fans. I told a story of young Joe, really big fan of Sammy Sosa, and having an interaction that didn't really go well. And so now I'm not a really baseball fan, and it's not Sammy's fault. It's something else's fault if you want to listen to that. But now not really a hardcore baseball fan because young Joe Gaither had a negative interaction with Sammy Sosa. We talked about that and how it might relate to young fans at Alabama trying to create young, lifelong fans that will give you money forever. We talked about Nico and just getting crazy with him. I want to, unless you want to, I'm going to take a step back and give you a second to address any of that. But really, what I want to do is get into actual football that we saw on Saturday. The quarterbacks, what we thought of each quarterback, the linemen that we kind of got to see, some of the linemen playing tight end because you don't have enough tight ends. Just
did
different
a valiant job.
Right. Just different aspects of the actual football is what I want to get into, but I don't want to move on from all of that. Yes, so we talked about Nico, the crowd, the autographs, all kinds of the things that you and I, Mason and I, talked about right after the game.
Sure.
So because we missed you yesterday, I'm going to sit back and sit some coffee, and I just want to get some of your thoughts on some of these big picture topics we spoke about yesterday.
Yeah, we'll start with kind of the sights and sounds, the things around A Day, not necessarily the football on the field. Obviously it was a small crowd. That's really the best way to put it. It was a small crowd. To see that few people filling Bryant-Denny Stadium was a bit jarring to the eyes, especially when it was the Alabama Crimson Tide out there on the football field. It wasn't the Super 7 or something. It wasn't a high school football game out there. It was a little bit strange. Now, I think it was marketed bad. I still think it was, we kind of talked about it leading up about the hype going into A Day, and I kind of downplayed it, thinking like, oh, this is just like normal. But I do think it was for anyone that wasn't super plugged in. They didn't really, I don't think, had any idea what to expect on Saturday. I don't think anyone really came into that stadium knowing what they were going to see, and I don't think anyone. I think the people that didn't come, that's why they didn't come, because it was like, what am I even going to be looking at anyway? So maybe in the future do a better job of explaining the kind of the process, what's going to be happening in front of folks' eyes. But yeah, the autograph signing was interesting. You see everybody saw the pictures. The line for Ryan Williams ends up backing up on itself, snaking back around.
Real quick, there was a theory yesterday in the media room about the Ryan Williams line that the Alabama fans were actually so polite that they thought, oh, this is just where the lines start. Ryan Williams wears number 2. This is all in numerical order. That, oh, this is just where the line starts. I don't want to jump my fellow Alabama fans in the line for other guys. I'm just in line. This is where the line starts, and I'm just being patient.
I could certainly see that. I could see that a lot. Now,
he's super popular.
Yes, I do think, even if had everyone realized, oh, every person has their own individual line, his line would have still been extremely long, but I could also see that being the case because, yeah, I mean, there was 1,000 people in that line waiting to get an autograph from Ryan Williams, it looked like. But yeah, overall, just a weird day. Just a weird time in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Like I said, didn't know what to expect going into it. still don't really know a lot of what we saw coming out of it. I think we still have a lot of questions. Now, I think some things were maybe cleared up a little bit if you really, really sat there and observed, but you had to really sit there and watch and nitpick and find things to find bits of information to pick out, because they did exactly what they wanted to do. And it was extremely vague. It was, it was football on the field technically, but that's about all you can say.
Yeah. So it was, I mean, I'm going to walk away from the experience feeling happy that we saw some actual football this spring. What if you were in Bryant-Denny Stadium, you will have realized what we got to see in our two availabilities. We saw the Indy period that was the second period after team. That's what we got to see twice. Great. Not a whole lot of juice. So you got to see that. So now you realize why I have been so hesitant to, this guy's the best and this guy's the worst. And first string for Billy and last string for Tommy. It's just Indy is hard is just like guys running through layup lines. Is Austin Mack throwing go balls down the sidelines and looking good doing it, but not looking so good under center in a team scenario.
A little bit of noodle arm action for Austin Mack on Saturday. I was not expecting to see that. A lot of underthrown balls from him. A lot of balls in the dirt, skipping, it'd be like a 10-yard in and he's skipping it in the dirt.
I think his arm is so live. I mean, this is the rose-colored glasses that he's playing. What's my touch on this pass?
Maybe.
What's my feel on
this?
Got
the Joe Milton issue.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah, we'll just start with the quarterback.
Perfect. Austin Mack will start with, since we're there, and then we'll go into the other two.
There's a small fire in the camp. We have lost one building at this point. I would say the medical wing maybe just went down this weekend. We're not looking great, but where we sleep is still standing. We have a mess hall we can eat. We're not really getting medical attention out here.
It's kind of important if you get sick.
This is fair. This is true. But hey, we're not sick yet. So we're okay.
What do you think of his play?
I was disappointed. I came away a bit disappointed. That's really, I'm not going to say he was outright horrible or anything, because he wasn't. He made a lot of really nice throws on Saturday, but most of those really nice throws came against air. Mm-hmm. I think I could only remember maybe two overly impressive throws that came in either the one-on-one receiver and DB or the team periods where they were actually kind of doing 7-on-7 stuff, or actually, full team on team. He just was not overly. He didn't really stand out in any of the drills that they ran. He does have a good arm. He's able to push the ball downfield pretty well. He had a few deep balls that looked nice, but just a lot of accuracy issues throughout pretty much the whole practice. It seemed like he was missing the most throws, I think, of anybody. And then he was also the most turnover prone of all the quarterbacks. Now, I think it was only 2 interceptions, but still. A problem nonetheless. So yeah, I came away a little disappointed. I still think the ceiling is extremely high, higher than Ty Simpson, but he's got a lot more polishing to do than maybe I realized.
Yeah. I think if you're in the Austin Mack camp right now, I'm sorry for you, but I think that really what you're hanging on to is yes, you still have a live arm. Yes, you still have all the physical tools. I think that really in all the, just like you said, when he's making passes on air, it looked great.
He looked the best out there, just standing there. Yeah. Looked the best of the three.
Looked like, that's the guy I want to, you just take him on the sidelines and we're picking dodgeball, picks.
Feeling pretty good.
I'm taking him. And post-practice, he was lively in the autograph lines with hyping up his fellas, and nothing bad. It was all, man, good game. Yeah, great stuff.
Like there was any bit of sulking or anything about a bad day.
Right. If you're in the Austin Mack camp, I think that you are hoping that between now and the fall, something's going to click for you in maybe in a consistency department. Really, what I'm thinking about it is the comments from Coach DeBoer on Ryan Fowler's show. We want a playmaker. We don't want a game manager. And filtering through the action that we saw on Saturday, and I saw potential to be a playmaker in Austin Mack. I definitely saw that. I did not see consistency.
Yeah.
I saw, oh man, if he's I mean, he threw the one ball to 30. Derek Meadows on Derek Meadows' literal butt on his backside. And Derek Meadows is looking down but like he was blanket coverage. It was 1-to-1 coverage. And it was, okay, I've got to hit one of these two guys, both of them going away from me. I'm going to throw it on my receiver's left butt cheek. And it was great. It was like, oh, if you can give me that. And Meadows turns back and one hand catches, and we all looked at each other. Did he catch that? I think there's a lot of potential still in Austin Mack, but you don't have any semblance of consistency. I felt like whenever when we were watching him on Saturday, it was, well, is this play going to be a hero or is this play going to be a zero? I felt like maybe that inconsistency is what is keeping Ty Simpson in the race, keeping Ty Simpson in the lead of the race.
Yep. I'm with you. I don't think that I did not come away from Saturday thinking that Ty Simpson's doing really anything to keep this job. It's more so that the other two quarterbacks aren't doing anything to win the job.
Yeah. Well, I think that the other two quarterbacks are having detrimental errors that, if you could just avoid the detrimental errors. I mean, Mack threw two picks and probably should have had a third or a fourth on Saturday. Russell throws an interception on his first pass and didn't have another one. But still, I think it's the who doesn't blow us up.
Yeah.
And right now Ty's not blowing anybody up. No interceptions. We roughly charted all the quarterbacks, and it was confusing. It was confusing. I'm sitting there trying to watch only Austin Mack the entire time and chart 0 of 1, 1 of 1, 0 of 1, 1 of 1. Yes, no, like complete, incomplete. And I got confused. And like I was assigned to one quarterback, and my eyes started going to other. Was that Ty Simpson? Was that Keelan Russell? It was confusing. Point being, the chart that we ended up with, Ty Simpson had the lowest completion percentage. Now, lowest at 77%. It's a practice. These guys are hitting like almost everything. It's a practice. The ball is barely hitting the ground. And I say lowest. Austin Mack, I think we charted him at like 81%. I think we charted Keelan at like 82%. And it was like minuscule, very. But I'm hesitant to say these numbers because what if I miss 5 passes? Sure. What if Hunter missed 5 passes? What if who was my third? Theo. What if Theo missed 5 passes? And like I think that they did a good job, but leave some room. It was confusing.
When they lined up 4 quarterbacks,
and they had what are we doing?
Quarterback throwing to a different wide receiver that was running a different route, and they were throwing across the field, across each other, and then they'd switch. It was that was the hardest thing to follow, and it was intentionally so. I think it was by design, I believe, by the coaching staff to be a bit hard to follow and not really be able to key in on any one guy. They are continuing to keep this quarterback battle a battle, continue to keep things vague. But that was hard to follow. There was a lot of things, like you said, they were just a little tough to keep up with.
All right, so Austin Mack, I think look, transfer portal opens tomorrow. And we'll talk about all this because Grubb and DeBoer both talked about the transfer portal. I think what you saw on Saturday, I mean, regardless of the money aspect of you lose Austin Mack, you got to bring somebody else in. It's going to cost you money. You don't want to do that. Great. I think whatever you saw on Saturday, you still want to keep. I think that, man, that's not shaky enough to, send his butt to the transfer portal. It's not shaky enough to, let's give up on that. It's not shaky enough to, that'll never come around. That'll never happen. That'll never click. I don't think it was shaky enough for that. I think it was enough potential, enough substance to say, hey, buddy, please don't go in the portal. Not only because of the injury and depth factor, but I think you're a player. I think you still can be a player. I just think that maybe you probably want to clean up consistency in the accuracy department. I think he can make all the throws. It's the when do I make the throw and what throw do I want to make? Those 2 question marks seems to still be there for him.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. I think Austin Mack and Keelan Russell are 2 guys. Both of them can make all of the throws. I do not believe that Ty Simpson is a guy that can make all of the throws. He is a guy that won't turn the ball over, and that's awesome. There's a lot of value in that. But I like Kalen DeBoer. I want that playmaker. I do not want just a game manager. I don't think a game manager is winning you a national championship in college football anymore.
Will Howard won one last year
with a $20 million roster around him. Whereas, does Yale Alabama have $20 million in the bank?
Well,
do they?
They don't have $20 million in the bank.
They did pretty good on Saturday.
But are the skill position players around Alabama, are they severely undervalued? We're getting ahead of ourselves, but like you're about to say $20 million roster. Yeah. If this roster was on the open market, would it be $20 million? I don't know. We got to get to Simpson for next.
Sure. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about skill guys though.
Simpson, I came away being like, yeah, that's every Alabama quarterback I've ever seen in my life. And okay, not saying it's a bad thing, but that's Greg McElroy, that's John Parker Wilson, that's Jake Coker, that's a little Jalen Hurts, but not as done. But even
it's kind of hard to say because it's not like he's getting opportunities to run in a practice
of course
where he's wearing
not.
the black jersey. So we can't really even evaluate his running ability hardly.
I think he can run a little bit.
I think he can. I think he's got a little bit of, he's got a little bit to him. I don't know exactly how shifty he's going to be, but I think he's got just a touch.
He may not break off a 40-yard run, but he'll get you 15 and slide for a first down and reset the chains.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, God dang it, his legs got us again.
Yeah, I could see that.
He didn't score 5 touchdowns, but he got 8 first downs with his legs that just drove me crazy.
Yeah, he just looked like a just run-of-the-mill. Hey, that's a quarterback. That's a guy that plays quarterback. That's what he looked like. He didn't look like he did not look like a dynamic or overly special quarterback, but he didn't look like a bad quarterback either. He was just kind of right down the middle. He didn't turn the ball over from what I saw. I guess like you said, lowest completion percentage, but that was again right like close to 80%, and it was we don't even know exactly. The difference between him and the other two guys were 3 or 4 throws probably that we could have missed. So it's hard to say if he even had the lowest. I still came away thinking like, yeah, this is a guy who, again, he's exactly what I've thought he was since he came to Tuscaloosa. Not overly dynamic, just a run-of-the-mill game manager type quarterback that's not going to really lose you games, but he's definitely not going to win you games either.
You said that Alabama can't win a national championship with Ty Simpson like 2 seconds ago. Mm-hmm. Dax Dixon, if Greg McElroy can do it, Ty can do it.
What year did that happen? What year did Greg McElroy win a national championship?
2009.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
What is that? 14, 15 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Will Howard was a game manager last year.
We already had this discussion. He had a $20 million roster around him.
And you don't think this roster's worth $20 million?
Maybe. We don't know.
How much you paying that Ryan Williams that we didn't even see? Now, that's the aspect that I think Saturday is not – I don't know if it was fully fair. You're going to have of course, we're all taking huge takeaways from Saturday, but this was a 15 practice session period, 15 practice over 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. Are we really going to make a quarterback determination without seeing him play with the best wide receiver on the team? I think that's an incomplete evaluation.
It is, but I also think it does give you a bit of a almost better view because it's, hey, we're taking away this crutch that you have in Ryan Williams and forcing you to go with your hands tied behind your back.
2's down there somewhere.
Yeah, you don't have that option now. You got Rico Scott, which electrifying, but we'll get there. I don't know. I see both sides. I think, yes, you do want to see what the quarterback looks like with the players he's going to be playing with in the fall, obviously. But I also think it's nice to see what he looks like when, not everything's going his way, maybe.
I thought Ty definitely looked good enough to win with on Saturday. And I'm going to disagree with you there. I thought he looked good enough to win. He didn't look
fine.
like a playmaker.
That's what he looked fine.
But I also wonder,
dangerously average is like the best I can describe him as.
None of the quarterbacks were asked to throw the ball down the field, though, on Saturday. None of them were invited to, hey, you want to have a couple deep shots?
Sure.
Yeah, you saw the deep shots with the indie drills and that sort of thing. And you saw him play 7-on-7, throwing into the end zone a little bit. But as far in team periods, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity.
There's a lot of dink and dunk.
Right. what did Ty do? He did exactly what people lost their minds about Jalen wanted not doing last year.
Mhm.
Jalen pat the ball. CJ Dupree's 5 yards in front of him. Robbie Oots or whoever is 5 yards right in front of him. Pat the ball. Watch it down the field. Get hit with the sack.
Yeah.
Oh, instead of just pat. Oh, let it go. Let CJ Dupree pick up 7 yards and up. We're at 2nd and 3, and we can work with this. The ball was out. It was first player gone. First player I see gone. And you talk about $20 million roster. They might not be making $20 million, but if you are just putting the ball in your skill position players' hands,
you're gonna have a good time with this team.
Yeah, I think that's how it can work.
Wouldn't you rather excel? I don't want to just work. Like it's so lame. I don't want to just watch a season of it works. They look fine. That sucks. That's boring to watch. 2020, like that season sucked to watch because they beat the crap out of it was not fun. It was just, all right, 3-step drop, Mac Jones. Najee Harris underneath, 15 yards. It was just like, oh my God, get over it. Get me through this season. It sucked. I do not want another year of that.
Of dominance? Of total dominance?
Yes.
I will say that national championship against Ohio State.
That was cool. I did like that.
Oh no, I was going to go in your lane. I was so not
just
into
because I hate
it.
Ohio State so much. That one did feel a little.
They
nice.
put Chuff Borland out there, and I thought, like, what are y'all doing?
I still have that image in my head of him, arms up, trying to cover Devontae.
Like, what are y'all doing?
No, that just I don't know. Yeah, again.
That team was impossible to defend.
I'm being a little hyperbolic on Ty. He was not. Sure, you can win games with Ty Simpson. He is not going to win the game. The team around him will win the game, and he will not lose the game.
Mac Jones never won any game anyways.
I just don't want that. When you have 2 other quarterbacks on the roster who can win games potentially, I'd much rather see what you got in those 2 guys.
But then it all becomes then we become doing the Bryce Young, Tua Tagovailoa, this quarterback centric thing where
Fine to me. That's the most fun brand of football to consume and watch.
Okay.
Dynamic quarterback play. I'll take that over. Run, pass. Run, pass.
Over distributing the ball to just multiple players.
But that's what a good quarterback does.
Yeah.
Mac Jones keyed in on Devontae Smith. And then, I'm in trouble. Here's Najee.
That offense was impossible to defend.
Like it was...
Are you doubling Devontae Smith, or are you loading the box for Najee Harris? What are you doing?
Yeah, pick one.
And if you're not,
the other guy will beat you.
Right. And people, Mac Jones was amazing. Like literally, the defense was telling him before every snap what was happening because of the other 2 players.
Now you might have that this year, and if you do, I'll eat my crow. I will still stand by that it's boring football to watch. But hey,
what if Ty becomes okay?
Whatever.
What does Ty have to do to become a playmaker in Mason Woods' eyes?
Have a more lively arm, make some more plays with his feet,
take more risks.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's what I noticed. He did not do anything.
Take a lot more.
I don't think that he
didn't throw into one tight window.
Exactly. And if it was a tight window, it was 2 yards away and underneath, and it was just like, I'm gonna squeeze it right here because you're just a couple yards away.
I don't know that he has the arm to throw into the tight windows.
Well, if Latia Brooks is running away from people, it doesn't matter.
Sure. It takes us there. It takes us to the next spot.
I want to play this Dax voicemail because I think he's talking about a lot of this, and he's going to lead us into Keelan Russell.
What up? It is Dax again. I literally just started listening to the show from this morning, Monday morning, April 14th, I believe. Yeah. And I realized no voicemails have came in. Roy and Hunter, where are y'all at? I have been the king of spring on the voicemail. Don't let it be the bummer summer. Oh, God, that hurt to say. Anyway, all right. I'll give you all my thoughts on A-Day. I'm not like other people. I'm kind of like Jimmy Stein on this. I get a lot out of seeing practice. I didn't get to go to A-Day, unfortunately, but I did see the Kyle Henderson highlights on YouTube. What I noticed is that Ty is a consistent quarterback. He was taking what the defense was giving him. He didn't throw any interceptions, I believe. Austin Mack was the one that was really pushing. Heard Clint Lamb say he threw straight. He threw like straight in the middle of the field on the cover 3 and got picked off. It was just a really bad throw. Austin Mack needs to settle in, stop pressing, calm down. But Keelan Russell threw a pick on his first throw, but he's a freaking freshman. Like, this is whatever. I heard it was pretty much par for the course on what we heard from the highest ranked recruit that we've ever had. Our wide receiver core, oh, dude, this season's going to be nuts for them.
We need to
They're going to be flying
noise
all over the field. Ties. He's going to have so many dudes to throw to. He's just got to get it to him, which I believe he can. He was a 5-star coming out of high school. He was like a 97.35 or something. Ty's a good quarterback. He's talented. I believe he can take us to the playoffs, if not to, like, the championship. I'm calling it right now. No, I'm not. I'm not calling it right now. Anyway, on to the next topic, basketball. We had freaking Jaron and
All right. I'm gonna pause it right there.
No,
Before I'm sorry, Dex. I don't mean to cut. We will return to your voicemail when you get to the basketball. But we're sitting with football, and it just felt right to pause you right there, and we'll bring you back in for the basketball. We'll let him set up the basketball topic right there. We'll read an ad, play the rest of that, and then go to basketball. Mm-hmm. Well, Keelan Russell. That's the we talked to Austin Mack a little. We talked Ty Simpson. Do you want to You want to tell the people our Keelan Russell story from Saturday? I don't think that's inappropriate. No. I don't think anything bad happened.
No. There, what was it? About 10, a little after 10, we get our media passes, and you're getting ready for the Walk of Champions. It's about an hour from then. And I go up to the press box and kind of sitting around, nothing really going on yet. So decided to walk on down to view the Walk of Champions, maybe, who knows, maybe we'll see some recruits, whatever. And I noticed this one woman kind of walking through, and I hear her say to someone wearing all the Alabama gear, where do players or parents of players stand? And he goes, oh, right over here. And I'm like, right off the bat, okay, she's someone of relative importance. So, make a mental note. 15, 20, 30 minutes go by. Gio's standing out there with me, and I just kind of say, hey, just an FYI, I did overhear. She's someone's mom, or that is someone's mom right there. Not sure who. Seems to be someone fairly important, because it's obvious that they have a deep crew with them. I mean, they are rolling probably 15, 20 deep over here. They've got people standing around them here at the top on the, the glass kind of railing that looks over the Walk of Champions. They've got people down there standing there, like a big crew. Someone obviously pretty important. And we're standing there, and Walk of Champions is going on, getting ready. People are processing in. And here comes Nick Sheridan walking out.
He's already been in the stadium. He's come back out.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen it, because he passed us as he walked in.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Hey, coach. He walks out. He gives this woman a big old hug. You can tell, like, body language. He is like, oh, how was your how'd it go? Did you make it in? When did you get here? How's everything? Like, oh, so happy that you're here. And it's like, okay, who is this? This very important person. And then was it Jamarcus? Or who was it? Did another coach come out? Was it just Sheridan that came out?
Thought it was just Sheridan, but maybe
Sheridan.
somebody else.
No. I think I was just thinking of earlier when we had seen the other coach walking in. So yeah, Sheridan. Alarm is going off. Like, okay, obviously, they care about this this family very much. They care about this family member very much. They care about this mother very much. Whose mother is this? Joe takes it upon himself to poke his head in there.
Awkward.
Excuse me. You mind if what did you, I don't even remember what you asked her. You mind if I ask a silly question or something like that?
Right.
Just whose mother are you? And she, you very much, just like you and I know the 3 Alabama quarterbacks, we know what they all look like. This woman turns around and says, I'm one of the quarterback's mothers. And, you instantly knew it was Keelan Russell's mom.
I had to put, because I've tweeted back and forth with her throughout 6 months. Not often, just here or there. And I was like, wait a second. I pull up my Twitter. I was like, oh, I know. My context clues are now connecting.
Yeah. It was so fun. I mean, just the way she just turned around. I'm one of the quarterback's moms. As if we don't immediately know who she is. The most important woman on campus that day.
I didn't see Terry Saban there.
No. It was so yeah, we had a very brief interaction with the what is now the first lady of Alabama football, I guess. One Mr. Keelan Russell's mother. I look, I've not been to a ton of football things like this. I've not, not been covering the team for a super long time. I've never seen any kind of interaction like that between a coach going out of their way to come out, greet, like show such.
20 minutes before the scrimmage starts is unusual to me. Not the interaction, but the timing of it was, what does that tell me?
He is really going out of his way to carve out time to go speak to her, to make sure she's happy, to make sure her family's happy, to make sure they have everything they want taken care of. Meanwhile, he's been prepping for this. We don't even know what it's going to be at this point of practice for however long. That really was, I think it told us a lot without telling us a lot. We got a lot from, I think, viewing that interaction. I believe that, everyone in that football building thinks that Keelan Russell is of the utmost importance.
All right. Well, you also went up to the press box after and watched Keelan Russell for an hour and a half. What do you think, Mason Woods?
I mean, of the three quarterbacks, he was the only one that had any bit of like, oh, wow, okay. We might have something here. Genuinely a lot of zip on the ball. Austin Mack, like we said, had some decent throws on the kind of against air reps, but I think Keelan was the only one that was really pushing the ball in the few opportunities he got. And you could just the way it comes off his hand, I don't know. It was different than the other two. I can't really describe. You kind of just have to see it. He, obviously he did throw the interception on the very first rep, but whatever. I think from there he locked in pretty well.
All three quarterbacks had a bad first period with the team.
Yeah.
Simpson was 2 of 4 for no yards. Russell threw the interception, and Austin Mack was 0 of 1 for no yards. So it's fine. And that's the very first snaps of the day.
Yeah,
hello.
Okay.
Let's warm up a little bit. Let's get in rhythm. That mother bleeper is real.
He is good at the sport of football. He is good at playing quarterback.
I don't care what he weighs.
He's as good as advertised. Like I said, just it was very obvious coming away that oh man, you got something there. He's really special.
The difference in arm talent. I mean, I'm sorry, but we're about to make. I'm about to make about 3 different comparisons to different Alabama eras, or Alabama scenarios. But it's the difference from going from 2020 with Mac to 2021 arm and Bryce. I'm sorry, that's hyperbole. It is, but I walked away Saturday thinking, "Ooh, that is an NFL arm," and that's an NFL arm.
Jalen to Tua.
Yes, a bit. It just seemed
easy.
Exactly easy. Russell never seemed like he was stressing, and the ball jumped out of his hands. Now, I do think you cannot ignore the opening interception. Okay, fine, but the rest of the practice was pretty solid. The rest of the practice was pretty good. You're putting the ball in good positions. I don't know. I cannot think if there was another one that should have been picked off that didn't. I know Mac had a third that should have been picked off. It wasn't. But
1 is a mistake. 2 is a pattern.
Yeah, you go out and dang, we got the day started off wrong. Let's just clean slate, restart, and we'll relock in. Honestly, I thought a lot about 2016 on Saturday. What happened with Jalen when he got in that game with USC? Didn't he fumble right off the bat? He fumbled right off the bat.
He did, yeah.
Fumbled and SC recovered, and Alabama got a stop, and they gave the ball back to Jalen. I'm pretty sure. But basically, I seem to remember Jalen's first action was a fumble. And then from there, great career. I think we're looking at 2016 all over again, and it's up to Ty Simpson to decide if he's Blake Barnett or if he's Mac Jones. Is this 2016 or is this 2020? Now, I don't know if the results at the end of the year will be the same. Really, national championship in 2020. What was it in 16? You lost to Clemson. You walk off the field losing to Clemson in a national title game. if either of those results are what we deal with in, say, 9 months next December, great.
Yeah. Feeling pretty good.
Even losing that national title game, great result. Sorry, it is. So Ty, it's up to you. Are you Blake Barnett or are you Mac Jones? Are you Blake Barnett in the fact that you get out 2 series into the Florida State game, the offense hasn't moved, you've gone 3 and out, you've gone 1 of 5, and the offense is just crunch time, not moving. Yeah. Florida State's up 7-0. The chop is chopping. You go out that 3rd series and it's another, you gain 15 yards, you punt the ball away. I'm sorry. It's going to be Blake Barnett. Russell's coming in the game. That's kind of how I'm.
That's so perfect. Will you be Mac Jones or Blake Barnett? We need Ty Simpson with one on each shoulder, like talking in his ear. That's exactly what we're looking at. That is exactly what we are looking at here.
Because Mac played well enough to keep the superstar on the bench. And of course.
You couldn't bench Mac.
Right. Everyone knew Bryce is over there. And everyone knew how valuable Bryce was. Yes. And everyone knew there is no bleeping way we're letting him get out of the transfer out. Yeah. So, Mac, you better play well, buddy. And Mac played nearly flawlessly. Yeah. I know I've been a Mac hater. I have been. But that 2020 season was basically flawless. Yeah. Perfect. Congratulations. Big flowers, lots of cookies, lots of gold stars. But, if that had a flaw or two, you would have heard whispers. Yep. You'd have heard, there's a reason he couldn't beat out Tua and Jalen Hurts. We gotta give it to young Bryce Young. There's a reason Ty Simpson can't beat out Jalen Milroe. Blah, 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 blah. We gotta give it to Keelan Russell. It's gonna be that all over again.
Yeah. It is,
but it's up to Ty. And we heard it yesterday. Ryan Grubb
laid it out for us.
Oh, Ryan Grubb, I love you so. Literally, I love you, Ryan.
Has he already put himself on just Mount Rushmore of Alabama assistants for you? Just by the way he answered all the questions yesterday.
He was awesome. He was awesome. If you haven't seen the Ryan Grubb press conference, I urge you to go look at it yesterday. You will get more out of that press conference than you did from any Nick Saban press conference ever. Of course, Nick Saban gives you the fun life lessons and such, but Ryan Grubb was actually telling you about the team.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my little. Where's my? I want to make sure I'm reading the quote correctly. Right there. There's everything Ryan Grubb said. All right, here we go. No questions on the quarterbacks today after Nick Kelly. And Nick Kelly said, "What have you seen from the quarterback?" No questions on the quarterbacks today. And he sat there for a second. No, I'm just messing with y'all. And then he gave the can. I'm happy with all of them. They're all doing good. They've all got strengths. They've all got weaknesses. Cha-cha-cha. Then they asked about 3 scholarship quarterbacks or more. And it's it's a good question. You've got to ask, are you going to go look for another scholarship quarterback? But, use your brain, people. Yeah. You don't have enough money to bring in another one. Another one worth anything, right? If the 4th quarterback is worth something, you're paying him too much.
Yeah.
You just put K-Dot Caruso. Put that man on scholarship.
Hey, he looked good on Saturday.
National championship good.
I saw a couple okay throws.
Good enough to win with. Good enough to.
Hey, everyone else is hurt. Get on out there, buddy. We're not going to get embarrassed with you on the field.
Good enough to save the money.
Sure.
To save the money and make Jam Miller a superstar.
Yeah, there we go.
Make Jam and Richard Young heroes.
Yeah. All
right. So it continues. Rico's got 6 running backs. Arkell Nugel in progress.
Looked like a monster, by the way.
Jay Lindsey playing every tight end position because we don't have a single tight end on the roster healthy at the moment.
Every man.
He talked about Wilkin Formby. And then E.G. McWhorter, Next Round Live, shout out UEG, asked him, good question. It wasn't like she was asking who's the starter.
Yeah.
She asked him to the extent, where have you spent the most time this spring in installing the offense as far as adding things to the offense that weren't there last year? Good question.
It's a really good question.
Yeah, smart. Ryan Grubb's coming in. I'm definitely adding, 5 pages to the playbook. Here's my 5 pages. And he goes on, quarterbacks is where I've spent my time. And he gives us a bunch of hooey about spending time with the quarterbacks. And then he okay. And that's a part of okay. I like Nick Sheridan. I've always worked well. We've always worked well together. And being in the room together and being able to coach these guys, and then having the freedom when we feel good about the message being sent, that it's everybody hearing and getting the same feedback is encouraging. And that's the part I feel like we really pushed that room a lot this spring. Then he just drops the bomb, and I know everybody wants to know about the position and where things are at. And I would say this, at the end of the day, if we're playing football tomorrow, Ty Simpson would start. And he earned that, right?
Asking the media.
And I know that's the line everyone's looking for, but that's what he earned. Ask Nick Saban in the fall of 2019 who the starter is. And Nick Saban would tell you, he told the media at that time something to the extent of, we don't really know. But if he told people in private, well, Max earned, if we play football tomorrow, who'd we open with that year? I can't even. Oh, it's all SEC teams. So it's an SEC season.
Is that Missouri, maybe?
Maybe. But, we didn't even know COVID was coming down the pipe at that point. But Nick Saban would have told people in private, or would have had coaches meetings that Austin, that Mac Jones is the starter if we're playing football tomorrow. Mm-hmm. He's earned that so far. I don't think we're any different than any of the same thing. 2016, the 2015 spring, Blake Barnett is coming off of it, and you barely. I don't know if Jalen was an early enrollee or not. I think he was. And so probably seeds of doubt started to be planted then, sure. But still, it was, Blake Barnett's probably the starter if we play tomorrow. I think this presents a very fun Ty Simpson story for the next 6 months.
Yeah, I think that saying, if we played football tomorrow, Ty Simpson's your starter is not
nothing.
That is nothing. That is not a vote of like, oh, we love this guy. It is just saying this guy does the least bad things, basically. Like it is not really praising Ty Simpson one way or another. It's just saying he's the best of the worst. Now, and obviously, these three quarterbacks are not all bad, but that's kind of what you're working with here. You're trying to pick the best of the three. And until, like we said, until Austin Mack cleans up some consistency issues, until Keelan Russell maybe just gets a little bit more comfortable, because golly, he already looked about as comfortable as you could be. We'll see. I don't know.
His quote continues. Austin Mack made huge strides. Also available reps were the same, and he did a really good job. He came out and developed just with some of the nuances, taking care of the football and things like that. But Ty showed out a little bit better.
Ty didn't turn the ball over.
Period. That's it. There we go. And last part on Keelan. And then honestly, Keelan exceeded my expectations. I think for a young man his age, he never gave in to the opportunity. We challenged him with that. Don't give in to I'm a freshman and this and that. And he didn't. And I say all the time, and I mean it, as the biggest compliment. He reminds me so much of Michael Penix, just in his demeanor. He has such a calm demeanor. Sometimes, you need to find the other edge of that and push a little bit of rush on it. But he did a good job, and he had a couple of days at the end. I wish he had played a little bit better, but man, I thought he made some huge strides.
It's a pretty good comparison.
Ty Simpson, are you Blake Barnett or are you Mac Jones? That's the question that we will all find out over the next 6 months.
It's gonna be a fun time.
Hey man, Mac Jones, your name is writ in crimson flame. You say his name in Tuscaloosa, and it just evokes greatness. And
sure,
I roll my eyes a little bit, but that's what it is. Ty Simpson, you can have that.
Yeah,
say Blake Barnett's name in this town.
Man, I remember being
excited
about him. I remember seeing the pictures of him from, I don't remember what high school it was now, but he just tall, lengthy, rolling out, looked perfect. And I was like, oh, here we go. Terrible. Obviously the people, our age and above remember him I mean, what do you think the cutoff is? Like, there's a large segment of Bama fans that are
man,
going now that don't even know who he is, and that's crazy,
dude.
We're old.
You know what Theo hit me with yesterday?
Oh no!
Because I asked him, "Is this Mayberry?" Because I can't remember what I was talking about. What aspect? I asked him, "Is this Mayberry?" And he looked at me. I said, "You don't know what Mayberry is, do you?" And I go, "You've never seen the Andy Griffith Show?"
Now, Joe, I'm going to be honest with you.
Are you going to hit me with it too?
I have seen like maybe one or
That's
two.
That's fine.
Episodes
You don't have to
that,
watch them all. No,
but I don't think I know what Mayberry is either.
That's the town
okay.
of the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, I've not seen much of that.
Am I the only kid who grew up watching TV Land with their grandparents?
I remember not like specifically not watching it when they would watch it and be like, I'm gonna go to the other room and play with some toys or something. My grandpa would sit there and watch the Andy Griffith Show, or I would watch some of the westerns. Those are good, a little Gunsmoke action.
Yes,
that was a good one, but never the old Andy Griffith Show never caught my eye.
Not to disparage the toys in my house or in my grandparents' house, but the TV Land was more interesting. Than the puzzles.
We had these little. It was like a mini Papa Shot basically.
Okay,
and you would flick your little finger, and it was a great game. Great game. I'd play that all the time.
All right, so that's our stuff. We just went 50 minutes on quarterbacks, which is fine. Because I think it called for it.
Thank you, Ryan Grubb.
Golly, the chatter after was, are they going to take coordinators away from us in the fall? Are they going to put the coordinators behind the Alabama paywall after a press conference like that? That's what we were all like. Oh no!
That, yeah.
And Womack walks in, and we're all just quarterback, type, and he goes, "Oh man, I'm surprised y'all are still here." Ask me what Kane Womack talked about. I don't know.
I bet you don't know.
Yes. It was total.
I'll tell you, I didn't see any of it. All I saw was what Ryan Grubb said.
It was total haze after Ryan Grubb dropped us the.
It's like you said, that is the most we have gotten from any one press conference, as opposed to 15 years of Nick Saban. Like, he gave you more in that 15 minutes than Nick Saban gave you 15 years.
It was so interesting too, because Ryan Grubb walked away like, I just manipulated all of y'all. I just made all of y'all do something. And like, it wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was bad, but like just the little dynamic of, I just manipulated the media just a little bit.
It's, two sides of the same coin. Nick Saban did it by like withholding information, and he's doing it by very strategically giving you nuggets.
Yes. Yes. And so it's funny to see him smirk walking away. Like, he was like, "You're welcome, guys."
Yeah, I love that.
And honestly, thank you. Like no jokes aside,
led the show today.
Define the competition as we are right now. What's wrong with that? You got the you got the portal window, and I know you don't want anybody to go in it, but like, you may as well lead with truth.
Yeah, I don't think that comment is so much like of a hard statement that it's going to run anybody off. If anything, it's just a bit of a call to action for the other two quarterbacks. Could maybe convince them to stay.
Mason Woods, do you want to just save skill positions for tomorrow and listen to the rest of this Dax?
Let's do that.
Yeah.
We can,
all right. What we're going to do, we'll save the football player, the skill positions, because I have to talk about Rico Scott and Latia Brooks. I don't know where they're all going to fit in with Ryan Williams coming back into the action, but that's not my problem. It's going to be a lot of fun to see everyone in action in the fall.
I want to see 4 wide receivers on the field a lot.
All right, let's keep it going. We are so proudly sponsored by Warren Tire and Auto, and they've been the premier. They've been the automotive. Oh my gosh, I'm so tongue-tied. Yeah. Warren Tire and Auto has been in Tuscaloosa and in the University of Alabama. They've been a staple of the area since 1961. They're in their third generation of family ownership. They're your go-to place for all your automotive needs. That's the phrase I was looking for, automotive needs. Now with 2 great locations better to serve you on 15th Street and on University Boulevard. If you're heading out on 15th Street, they do tires, brakes, and alignment right there. They can get you right back on the road. You need your tires rotated. You need new brake pads, all kinds of things. We're done. You pop a tire, you need a new tire, call them, see them there at 15th Street, Warren Tire and Auto. Call them today at 15th Street, 205-759-5505. If you just need an oil change, or if your engine's acting funny, maybe your AC's not playing right. I know the summer's about to come up. You want to make sure you have the right AC in your car. See them on University Boulevard for all your other automotive needs. You can make your appointment today by calling 205-758-2739. Warren Tire and Auto is the premier place to take your car for all your automotive needs, and they have been part of the Joe Gaither Show for the last few months. We look forward to continuing our partnership with them, and we encourage you to go take your car to Warren Tire and Auto in Tuscaloosa.
No, I had to go part of last summer with no AC. Wish I had known our friends over at Warren Tire.
That's not fun.
It was not.
That's a brutal time.
That is of the 4 cars I've driven in the time that I've been driving. I've had periods of no AC in 3 of them.
That's not good.
Oh, hate that. No, wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
All right, let's go back on the hotline, 205-462-7340, extension 800. You can leave a voicemail just like Dax. Dax, I'm going to send your voicemail to Roy in Gunnersville and to Hunter, since you called him out right at the start, and we'll just see what they have to say about that. I love that.
Give me a little caller drama.
Oh, yeah, just a little, we want a little interaction. We love that. You can be a part of the voicemail line. We're also making the voicemail line available for sponsorship. We're trying to expand the show a little bit, so if you are interested in sponsoring the voicemail line, you can hit us up, and we can talk about that. Let's hear let's finish Dax's voicemail as he transitions to basketball.
On both his portal. Now I'm hearing today, Aaron.
Oh, a little further back. 1, 2, 3.
We had freaking Jaron. Oh, I'm not calling her right now. Anyway, on to the next topic.
There we go.
Basketball. We had freaking Jaron and Darion both hit the portal, and now I'm hearing today that Phylon's entering the draft. Phylon, buddy, dude, don't do this to us. You already did, but man, I need to work with your agent, dude. Holy crap. This made the day not good. But then I saw that we get a Fong bomb for Xavier Crowell, or Crowell, however you want to say it. That boy's good. And Sedarian Morgan. That boy's good too. Another 6'4" wide receiver. Man, okay. The board gets it. That's all I got to say. Anyway, yeah, that's all. That's pretty much all I got to say about my thoughts today. Man, I just hate to see Phylon leave, but it's whatever. Roy and Hunter, where y'all at? I'm calling y'all out. Don't let me be the only voicemailer this whole freaking spring and summer. I'm getting lonely. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. That's Dax on the voicemail line, leading us into the basketball topic. Ooh,
that was a tough day. That was a tough, about 36 hours or so?
I went to bed early on Saturday night and woke up to Darian Reed news. Man,
it really felt like that one had been quelled.
Yes, because the last 3 weeks of the season, I was sure, Darian Reed, you're transferring to Georgia. And then the offseason started to happen. I thought, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started to really feel like, no, he's not transferring. And now I'm back to Darian Reed is transferring to Georgia.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Now,
can we be honest? Now that he's leaving,
a little disappointing.
A lot disappointing.
Yeah.
Not just the performance or the production or lack thereof. What did you think you were signing up for?
That's a good spot to go, because I too am a bit perplexed by maybe what he thought he was getting into.
Because the perception that Joe has on why Darian Reed is leaving is more money, more time, more playing time, less accountability on the defensive end, and maybe a little more, well, buddy, we're just happy to have you. The perception that I have from this year was that Darian Reed didn't like to be asked to play defense as much. Wasn't this part of the recruiting package?
Yeah.
Blue collar basketball leads the recruiting package. Buddy, when you come here, we will ask you to play defense. And if you don't play defense, the bench is right there. Like, we've had 6 years of evidence now of this.
Is Nate Oates selling dreams on the recruiting trail?
Surely not.
I wouldn't think so. Because, like you said, it's
Like,
all right there for you
the
to go
evidence
watch.
exists. So my perception is that, I pulled my hamstring and my hamstring's really hurt.
Mm-hmm.
My hamstring's hurting today.
Yeah, I wanted to,
I'm not healthy enough today to give you my all-grenade oats.
When we talked about this for the first time, however many weeks ago, I was on Darian's side, on the side of I think it's a bit, like, we're reading into it a little too much. He probably is just actually hurt, whatever. He's trying to go to the NBA still. But, man.
I'm finding myself from throwing this microphone across the room because I'm
Um,
really angry.
yeah,
I think that there was a I don't like the way that this is going, and now I have a convenient little out here. And of course, now that it's tournament time, I'm trying to give it my all.
Yeah, if he has a good tournament run, he might go get drafted still.
I'm walking away with a lot of bitterness in my mouth from the Darian Reed.
Certainly. I think it's pretty warranted, given, if the optics are to be believed, if what we kind of have observed is to be believed. Now, obviously, we don't know Darian. I haven't talked to Darian. I haven't talked to anybody on the staff, but that's just what it seems like from an outside.
I'd
from our
love to get
outsider
Clark.
perspective.
Oh, it'll never happen, but I would love to get the head trainer Clark on the show. Hey, man, tell us about that. And I'm sure. Look, the Alabama people would handle it with class. He was hurt. He gave it his all. He tried to, yeah, sure. Thank you. I don't believe you. And maybe that's just my silly fan perception. But like, I do talk to a couple of people that are decently connected. Not like there every single day, but connected enough.
I just wonder why it took so long to get sorted out.
Him transferring?
Him making this decision. It was the negotiation, just a constant back and forth between because I don't know, to me, if you're having that much issue, like just, and maybe that's what this is, that Alabama did finally just cut their ties with the situation and say, you know what, go ahead and get your bag, whatever, buddy. But I don't know. It's weird that both sides, this kind of seemingly went back and forth for as long as it did, with now the end result just being, I'm out.
Well, I think that if you're Nate Oates, you want to keep him.
Do you though? We just talked about how much he kind of sucked this year. He didn't really try hard on defense. Didn't give you much, sandbagged to get hurt.
I think what you saw is enough talent to where if I can get you plugged in, buddy,
sure.
If I can plug your brain back in, restart your heart a little bit, and we're gonna be good.
No, this is fair. I mean, at the end of the day, he is still a 6'10" wing that's extremely talented.
Exactly.
And when he was on,
all I gotta do is hit you with the defibrillator.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair.
Just
disappointing.
But I got a question for you about Jaron Stevenson. What are you doing? You leave.
Go home.
Yes, buddy. But think for 2 seconds.
He just wants to go home, Joe. He just wants to go home and see his mom.
This is not smart, Daria. This is not smart, Jaron. Like, look, I'm not crying about you transferring out, and I'm happy that you went home and found a place.
Yeah.
But this does.
You're jumping on a sinking ship, buddy.
Not only that, what do we say that Jaron struggled with? Confidence. Okay, that's fine. And I think Nate did everything that he could to, man, you're like, pump him up.
Yeah.
Get him some good shots, get him some good rolls, get him some good minutes. And I think Jaron is, when he's not thinking, a good player.
Yes.
A good player, for real. I don't know for sure if the Alabama fan base affected Jaron Stevenson's play. But my perception is that is a factor. The pressure, you're at Alabama, we expect a lot. We're expecting Final Four, national champion, pressure. But this is pressure from not a blue blood. This is pressure from Johnny-come-lately program. Now, granted, that might mean that more crazies are, expecting crazy things. Sure. Jaron, why didn't you score 50 points? You stink. You're a bum. No, you're not a bum. My only question is, what do you think the North Carolina fans are going to say to you, sir? The first time you let somebody out-rebound you?
Yeah, I would have gone to Wake Forest. There's
a lot of schools in North Carolina. NC State would be fine.
NC State would have been better. A perplexing decision, given what we observed to be his issues at Alabama, and it's seemingly like now you're just going to have those issues tenfold.
Yes,
I don't, again, I think this decision was purely driven by him wanting to get closer, go back home and be with his family. But
great on you for that.
Awesome. But there's so many other schools in that area you could have picked where you could have been like the star. And now you're going to go
with less pressure.
With no pressure almost. I mean, NC State a little bit, but you go somewhere like Wake Forest, man, you just go get to be the man. Who cares what you do there? You just play your game. I don't know. Very, very strange.
I hope it works out.
I sincerely do, because I always liked Jaron.
I liked him until the middle of the year, where I was just like, you know what, I can't anymore. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I don't know what it is. I think it's just because I saw Nate Oates, take him under his wing a bit.
Nate
I
loved
feel
him.
like, I have to also. It just just kind of has a special spot. I do like Jaron. I hope he succeeds. I think there is a world where he finds himself as an NBA player. It's just he's got a little bit to get there.
So he makes that decision, and obviously we have nothing to do with that decision anymore now that he's transferred out. But wish you well. Think that's it makes sense on the surface as far as going home.
Sure.
I fear for how that turns out. Last player, the Baron Phylon, says, "No, I'm not maintaining my college eligibility."
Godspeed to you, buddy.
What do you think he was told somebody promised him they drafted him?
Yeah, somebody told him, "Hey, buddy, you're going to be on our team." Now
it's nuts to leave your. I'm sorry, LeBaron. I love you, and I do think that you are going to be a good NBA player, and this will work out for you. But you should at least leave the lifeline available, right?
Absolutely.
We're not just gonna throw the life jacket off the boat.
You have the opportunity to sit here 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and play both sides. Why would you not take that opportunity?
I don't know.
No, I don't know. I'm trying to look here.
And maybe this is a favor to Nate Oates.
Maybe.
Hey, man, I'm gone. You got to go find somebody today.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe he saw J.D. Davison get his 2-year deal, and he thinks, oh, well, even if I go to the second round, I can work my way up. But I don't know, man. I'd much rather taking a pretty healthy deal from Alabama to play for 1 more year and then maybe go be a first-round pick. Just a weird decision. Someone, like you said, I think someone has given him some or at least information that he trusts very well, that, hey, he's going to be an NBA draft pick.
He's got some assurances. You've got to. I mean, you have to have assurances if you're saying, "Oh, I'm foregoing my NBA, my college eligibility." I fully expected him to make this decision. I'm going pro, but I fully expected him to say, "But I'm just getting evaluated, and if the evaluation goes well, I'll stay in the draft, and if it doesn't, I'll come back to school."
But yeah.
Maybe it is a straight up a favor to Coach Oates. Hey, man, you got to go find somebody now. I'm not going to Charles Bediako you where I'm in, I'm out. Will you expect me to come back? And then at the end of the day, I say, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And you got to go find somebody.
And while it sucks to lose LeBaron, I guess it does put you in a slightly better situation than you would have been otherwise, because then you don't know what you're doing. So now you at least have a pretty good idea of what's happening.
One of my old interns at the radio station who does not understand basketball at all, I'm not even going to mention his name because it's ridiculous, who goes out there on the Twitter machine yesterday after LeBaron makes his announcement. He goes, "What does it say about Nate Oates that players would rather go to the NBA and to the transfer portal than stay in Alabama?" I'm like, buddy, I don't think you understand how this all works.
It's a very odd way to think.
Yes,
for that to be where your head goes when you hear this announcement. I don't. You need to do some you need to do some reflection there. That's a you thing. I don't.
Isn't it Nate Oates' goal to get them all to the NBA? And if they end up going to the transfer portal because they weren't good enough or it wasn't a fit,
you look you saw what happened to all those guys that transferred. I don't think it worked out too well for them. So looks like your options are either staying at Alabama and getting to the league or transferring and being terrible. I'm not. I'll probably take Bama.
Coach DeBoer gave the line of lines yesterday with the transfer portal that every every coach needs to steal, that every coach on campus at the University of Alabama needs to steal. Where was I? Yeah, here we go. This was yesterday's press conference. and this was about retaining players and worried about players going into the portal. I think for us as coaches, the foundation is still the same, right? Coach these guys. You just continue to add to their value, add what they can do, make them feel like they've got a strong role on our team, and they're developing, and that growth continues to happen. We see it, and we want to be a part of that growth. When they feel like they get the feedback, and we can be strong with our guys. They know that we care about them. They know that we need them to help us accomplish the goals as our team. They have personal goals too, and we want to help them accomplish it. You never know at this time of year. We felt last year we didn't really lose anyone at this time that we felt like we were going to have going into the fall. We definitely don't want to say keeping our fingers crossed, but that's the case here with the portal. Here we go. Here's the line that every Alabama coach needs to steal. I'm proud of our guys. The guys that you want around you, whether it's coaches or players, they have a good head on their shoulders. They can have a perspective on what they really truly have here at Alabama, and it's special. Whether it's the resources that they have and the people that they have around them in the training room, in the weight room, the coaching staff, I think is elite as well. And so these guys are getting an experience that they should not take for granted. We can talk about the stories of guys who have come in and have said how great it is here, or the guys who have left and, maybe even are wishing they could come back. Be careful what you ask for. The grass is definitely not greener on the other side.
That's fantastic. That's good stuff. You mentioned, just everything available to these athletes at Alabama specifically. It's like, I know college football was in a constant arms race of, who can get the biggest TVs in their locker room, or who can do. Who do you think started that arms race?
Nick Saban
in Alabama. So, the players, I think a lot of time do fail to realize exactly what all they're throwing away by hitting the transfer portal and going somewhere else, because this is such a storied program, such a nationally relevant program, such a historically important program. There's so much that comes with being in Alabama that a lot of players seemingly do not realize.
Well, we will watch how Nate Oates rebuilds the roster. Obviously, now at point guard is now paramount on the wish list. I'm not even going to do the math. There's probably 2 spots available. I haven't even thought about it yet. We need to do the math probably tomorrow. We need to do a lot of things. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about skill positions. And tomorrow, let's read Jihad Campbell's evaluation on the beast. We did Jalen Milrose last year, and I was really, really moved last week, and I was moved by Dame Brugler's report. I'm interested to see what he says about our buddy Jihad Campbell. So what do we want to do?
Had a good time on Saturday. I think Jihad Campbell and Terry Arnold were having a lot of fun on Saturday.
Well, it was Tyler Booker's 21st birthday.
Oh, of course. Everybody was celebrating.
At the Denny Shimes thing, the handprints and concrete fit, the Alabama fan base broke into an impromptu happy birthday to Tyler Booker.
Nice.
It was impromptu. One side of the crowd just started it, and everybody just picked up. And when he gets to the point, happy birthday, dear, it was dear Tyler Booker, dear Tyler. But I enjoy it.
Nice.
And the guys in the little circle seem to dap him up all nice. I think that Jihad Campbell and Terry Arnold, when they were put on the television screen, the big screen in Bryant Day Stadium, might have been a little inebriated.
Possibly. Who knows? Who's to say? It wasn't on TV, so nobody will ever see it.
Right. And who cares? I
don't care.
23-year-olds on a Saturday afternoon with nothing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Looked like they were having fun. They were just back in their old, back in the old stomping grounds.
Yeah, I mean, imagine they've been in Bryant Day Stadium. Every time they're in Bryant Day Stadium, it's serious business. It's go, go, go. It's kill, kill, kill. At this point on this Saturday, they can have a drink or two and relax and say roll tide and do the Dixieland Delight thing.
No problem with me. It was just funny. It was very funny.
All right, so I want to talk about the skill position players that we saw yesterday at 8-8 tomorrow. I want to talk, oh, goodness gracious, about the Beast ride up tomorrow. I feel like there's 3 or 4 things. I feel like there's so many.
We need to probably touch on these ladies' sports a little bit.
Oh, gosh, we didn't even mention them. It's an hour 15 in, and I don't really want to disrespect them by putting them 2 minutes, the last 2 minutes. So, we'll write that down. The ladies, we previewed it twice last week. Alabama, Oklahoma. They did it. They beat Oklahoma twice.
Golly.
Twice. They walked him off on Monday night. Audrey Vandegrift, big old home run. Caitlin Riley gets out of a bases-loaded jam. I mean,
if you haven't seen the video of Murph, like it just elation, pure elation after the game. It was incredible.
Everything you've been bitching about this softball team clicked over the weekend. I'm sorry, like I don't want to make it like super roses and hyperbole. Joe's always supporting everybody, but like, yeah, the pitching can't close out a game. Oh, can't get clutch hitting. Oh, can't play great defense when it matters. They did this week against the number one team. So, we do want to talk about that tomorrow, and I do want to address all the WNBA draft picks that happened over the weekend. Sarah Ashley Barker, number 9 overall draft pick. So we'll give them their due tomorrow to lead the show, not to close the show on a Tuesday. We'll lead the show with our women's sports tomorrow, and then we will get to skill position players at 8A, and we'll talk about Jihad Campbell in the Beast write-up. I got to go rewatch Monday Night Raw because I fell asleep on it last night. I've been having a couple Monday therapies, and yesterday during my therapy, she goes, "So tell me how the last few weeks have been going. Have you felt extra tired after?" And I thought, "No, I haven't." Last night I fall asleep like right away.
I didn't watch it either. I was too busy playing some WWE.
The final Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania this weekend. So that's what I'll be doing this morning. And you guys can have a great day. I hope you have a great day. Hit us up on the comment section at Joe Gaither 6. Join Dax on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. Message Mason Woods at MAWoods _ about all your recruiting scoops if you know anybody.
Yeah, there we go.
And we'll get out of here for the day. Thanks to Derek Daniel for hosting the program. Thanks for Warren Tire for sponsoring the program. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.